Greetings, weary travelers, to the Crypt of the Unknown. I am the Critical Android Web, and joining me, the artist of the day, it's Stefan JD.
Yep, it's me. And all I gotta say is
I'm sorry, what was that? He ha, he ba ba ba?
yeah, ha ha he ha.
Stefan, why don't you tell us what you're doing today with this drawing that we're providing the backing track for?
I am attempting to make a 3D physical character known by the name of Jason Voorhees.
Jason Voorhees. Now, he was a vacuum salesman, right?
Correct, out of Oklahoma.
The only place to sell vacuums in the Dust Bowl.
He was born in Delaware, but nobody knows where that was, so it just quit asking him questions after that.
Born in Delaware, moved to Oklahoma. That's Jason for you.
Sounds like a Steve Miller song.
Big old jet airliner carrying me to my home, Oklahoma Dust Bowl. Grab my machete where my mama's home.
Ain't going to Delaware.
Anyway, as you're drawing Jason here, before we talk about the style that you're doing, tell me about your fascination with the character of Jason.
Man, that's tough. Basically, I don't know. No, actually, usual slasher villains, like if they talk, they really gotta pay it forward. There has to be something there that's actually fun to listen to. I think only a few get that. I want to say Pinhead from Hellraiser, obviously Charles Lee Ray, Chucky, and Freddy Krueger, of course. But when it comes to the silent ones, they have to energize you in a different way, and that is by brutality alone and just simply by how they act. And whatever it is about the few people who have played Jason the character, Kane Hodder, Ted White, TJ Graham, to name a few, they just, however they did that performance just fascinates me. I don't know what it is. I absolutely do not know what it is, but it just fascinates me.
Well,
also, the iconic hockey mask. It's cool as shit.
It is cool as shit, even though, as you would be the first to point out, Jason didn't originally start with this mask.
Mm-mm. Nope. He was a sackhead Jason.
I guess that's one way of putting it, yes.
That's what I've heard he's known for, calling him just a sackhead. But yeah, Jason wasn't the original killer of the series. It was his mom, Pamela Voorhees.
Oh, good old Pam.
Yeah, played by, man, why did her name just escape my mind? Betsy Palmer.
I do like Betsy Palmer.
Yeah. Fun fact, if anyone doesn't know, they ever listen to, what's his name? Those two guys that review movies?
Siskel and Ebert?
I don't even. I don't like Siskel and Ebert, so I try to forget about them as much as I can. But
that's harsh.
It is, but here's the harsh thing about who's the one with brown hair, balding.
That was Siskel.
So Siskel, what he did when the original Friday the 13th came out, is he told everyone that it was atrocious what Betsy Palmer did in this movie, and how could she do that to her fans? And then live on TV, he gave everyone her home address so they could write hurtful things to her house.
Oh, wow.
In the mail.
Kind of horrible.
Yep. So that's why they lose my respect, and they've been wrong on a lot of movies. So fuck those guys.
Well,
but everyone comes with their own baggage, I guess.
I guess one way of putting it. I can say that I met one of the Jason actors. I met Derek Mears, who played him in the reboot.
Oh, okay. He's pretty tall, isn't he?
He is a very tall man. This is true.
Mm-hmm.
It was a 2009 reboot. I met him probably around, I want to say around 2014, probably. I was working at a hotel, and he was staying there for a convention, and he was incredibly nice, just so wonderfully warm and charismatic. And my supervisor at the time, Mike, who was a huge horror fan, he was just looking over the guest list of who was coming in. He was so ecstatic, they were going to have Linda Blair, and several other people. But he wanted to meet Derek, and So he comes to check in with me, and we're talking. It's like, would you mind terribly waiting a second to speak with that supervisor Mike over there? He's a huge fan, and I'd be remiss if I didn't let him, have a chance to say hello if you don't mind. It's like, no, I'd love to. And Mike is like all giddy with anticipation. He looks, it's like, oh my God, it's so nice to meet you. And Mike is kind of like, freaking out a little bit. And he's like, I know I shouldn't do this. I'm not acting very professional right now. But he's like, no, it's fine. I acted the same way. Like one time I got into a limo. They were taking me to premiere of a movie. And it was like, I was in there and it was Michael Ironside and Lance Henriksen. And Miras is telling us the only thing I wanted to do was break out like a list of words that I just wanted to hear them say in their badass voices. I was geeking out so badly.
That's pretty awesome.
And then I asked him if he wanted a do not disturb on his phone or on his room, so that if anybody were trying to look for him, they couldn't find him. And we abbreviate that as a DND, a do not disturb. And he flinched for a second. It's like, what now? I said, do not disturb, D&D. It's like, oh, I thought you said D and D, and like you were going to send a dungeon master up to my room. It's like, yeah, sure, why the fuck not?
Yeah, I can do that too. I'm a master of many talents. I have actually also met a Jason. I met the most famous of the Jasons, as most fans would say, I guess, because he's played
Jason Bateman?
Yes. No.
Oh.
He's played the role 4 times from part 7, which I'm actually drawing here, the New Blood, and all the way up to Jason X, and his name is Kane Hodder.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, who is a stuntman. And when I went to go see him, this was at Mad Monster Party at it was like a horror con. And you had to pay, I think it was like $90 to take a picture with them or something. And they had a green screen there so that later on they could crop in Times Square, which I'm sure you're familiar with, Webb, as you live in New York.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. And so anyway, Kane Hodder comes into the room where we're all sitting in the chairs. We're in a line basically in the chairs waiting to go in and take our picture with him. And he comes by. He's got his duffel bag. He's not dressed up yet as Jason. And he goes up to everyone in the room and he says, hey, do you guys mind if I just go like this as myself? And everyone in the room was like, no, you can't do that, Kane. And he's like, oh, yeah, I know, you fucking idiots. And he walks away.
Jesus Christ.
Very sweet guy. And so he gets, he's going to get into his Jason wear. He actually wears the Jason Takes Manhattan outfit. And he's sitting there in front of the green screen. They call me in. So I go into this huge auditorium. And they're just like in the middle of it. The photographer, the green screen, Jason's standing there. And surprisingly, Kane's not like a super tall guy, which is why I asked you about the other Jason. But he's a little bit taller than me. I shook his hand and said, hey, Kane, it's nice to meet you. But I was wondering if for the picture, if you could just do a quick chokehold on me. And he's like, yeah, sure. Great to meet you, too. And I don't know what happened, but it was like he teleported from being next to me to behind me. And I suddenly felt an arm go around me in a sleeper hold. And I'm not even kidding. Kane Hodder literally choked the shit out of me. He just began choking me to death. And if you ever watch a documentary with him, he says he does that with everyone, even like his co-stars, because he wants to get an actual reaction for the movie or for a fan picture. So I'm literally being choked to death. 5 flashes go by and I'm about ready to pass out, and Kane literally just throws me away. He puts his hand on the back of my head and he shoves me away. And and I'm just like, thanks, Kane. Nice meeting you.
We had very different Jason meeting experiences.
Yes, we did.
I get the guy just standing there talking to us for like 15 minutes. You get the chokehold and the buzz rush.
I think that's why he's a fan favorite. Oh, man. He was, and you know what's fucked up too is when he pushed me away and I was like, thanks, Kane. He was laughing his head off. He's just sitting there cracking up. And I'm just like, yeah, fuck you too, bastard. But yeah, that was a good time.
He sounds insane.
Yeah, he's awesome.
So I had this vision come into my head of a Stephen Wright joke. Stephen Wright always talks with that deadpan voice with every joke he does.
Oh yeah.
I was playing poker with tarot cards. I got a full house and 4 people died.
There's no comma in that one.
Or this one where he goes, I had a very something about like a very odd grandpa. When I was 4, he took me by his knee and said, when I was your age, I was 7. Then he'd cackle madly and throw a spoon against the wall. And just that imagery just reminds me of Kane just like tossing you aside and be like, oh, he's joking.
Oh man. Yeah, that makes sense. That actually makes a lot of sense. That's a good way to equate it. It was really weird. You know what else was interesting at that place? I mean, we'll get back to Friday the 13th because it's not a long video.
No,
but Kane, I want to say, so he paid $90 a picture. We had to wait till 3 a.m. to get them because the printer broke apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was crazy. People were upset. Most of us were happy because we just got to hang out more there. But
of course, naturally.
Yeah. But the crazy thing is that Elvira was also there.
Oh, Cassandra Peterson.
Yeah, Cassandra Peterson. Kane had I don't know, maybe like 100 people there for him to take a picture. And Cassandra Peterson, Elvira, she had about 1,000.
Well, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And she charged, I think, 150 for each photo.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know how much Derek Mears charged just like stand there and talk with us for a while?
No. Sorry. Go ahead.
You know how much Derek Mears charges to just stand there and talk with us for a while?
How much?
Nothing.
Oh, wow. What a nice guy. I got to meet that guy.
He was actually really nice. We just were able to stand there and chat, and he was telling us just fun stories about what it's like being in the industry, and he was just a really sweet guy. And I did not expect that, but he was so just wonderfully charming and nice. He was just literally thankful to be there meeting people. And that's the kind of thing that you want from celebrities. But speaking of people who are thankful to be meeting others, I mean, Jason's always thankful to meet some new people, isn't he?
Always.
Now, why'd you turn the mask upside down there in your drawing? Oh, now it's right side up again.
Okay, so if anyone else watched the other 2 videos, they know that I was trying to get a better setup to where you could see the full thing. What I was having before is this $5 tripod I bought where I just put my phone in it and it looks at an angle at the picture. Mm-hmm. So this time I got very creative and I stacked a bunch of books on top of one another. And I
creative.
That's not even the worst part. I got 2 chopsticks, which I have at my phone. I stuck them in the middle of them and then put my phone on top of the chopsticks.
Oh, Lord. Oh.
So I was trying to show myself drawing the other half of the mask, but the books are there right next to my drawing arm, so it's like, well, do I turn it upside down? Oh, that doesn't work. Well, what the fuck am I doing?
Well, what are you doing right now, actually?
Yeah, I'm drawing Jason, part 7. But the thing to note, especially about anyone who wants to draw something, is the first thing you have to do is you have to understand that everything you're drawing is a shape. And the shape you're thinking of is a 3D shape, not an actual just circle, square, hexagonal, whatever.
Man, woman, TV, camera.
Exactly, yeah.
Person.
Person. So always keep that in mind. Obviously, with the mask here, you have to understand that it's going to bend a little over the face as they already are angular when they're made. And then you have to keep in mind the fact that Jason's face itself, underneath the mask, if nobody's seen the movies, he's actually a mongoloid, and his face is a little bit deformed. So you have to keep all that in mind when you're doing it. You almost have to picture it, and then once you get the idea in your head, you can put it to paper. But you should always be thinking of shapes when you're drawing, because if you're not, then it's not going to look like anything but a flat object.
So you're always trying to think from the 3-dimensional perspective.
Absolutely.
Now, what artists have influenced your artistic style?
I don't think anyone influenced my style, because my style specifically is, I don't want to say lazy. It's probably actually harder just because I'm unintelligent with shadows. What the thing is that with shadows is the thing that helps make it look like an actual 3D object. You know, you add the shadow, it adds depth. But with my art, have never learned shadows. So when I take a picture of something or I see something, a picture of something, I take those shadows as what they are. And shadows are mostly actually, if you look at them, very sharp. So I try to take a picture, like let's say of a mask, like Jason's mask or a mask, and I look at these sharp shadows on it, sharp shadows of a hole, sharp shadows of eyes in darkness, and I just apply that to whatever I'm drawing at the angle I'm drawing it at, and it looks very sharp, which is why my style is just an uninformed style. That's all it is.
Now, does your style involve shading the sharp shadows?
Yeah, absolutely.
How do you shade a sharp shadow, like, significantly stylishly?
Make sure the lines are straight.
So you need to straightly shadow straight. Fuck it, never mind. I'm out of S words. Shit.
If only I had one more. Shit. Oh, wait. I did.
Have you ever looked at another person's art, though, and been like, damn it, I wish I could draw like they can?
Um, very few people. I want to say George Perez, not so much for his style, but more of the speed at which he can do detail and add so much into one little scene that, you know, that like the time that you have to produce a comic book, because he's a comic book, obviously he works comic books. It's just, you have to create 24 pages in 30 days. So that means you almost have to do a page a day, Monday through Friday. You could take the weekends off, you'll be fine. But the rate at which he does it and the depth and the detail and how much he can include in a page is very informative, and it's very hard to do that because I can't. Other people I would say is Todd McFarlane, obviously, Jim Lee, all the big names, Frank Miller. A big fan of Bill Sienkiewicz. He's more of a painter-esque. He kind of almost reminds me of Ralph Steadman in a way. Are you familiar with Ralph Steadman?
No.
Okay, he did all the artwork with Hunter S. Thompson.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like the Fear and Loathing and Las
Yep,
Vegas
alright.
covers and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. And he's done like a bunch of band album covers. But yeah, there's been a couple people, Frank Quietly. I mean, the impact of Dave Gibbons, so many people in the comic book industry, they just all have very informative styles, and what's so special about them and their art is that it's unique, and that's, I think, why I like attach myself to those names specifically. Especially the amount of detail they could put in such a short amount of time. It's just it's impossible for me to do that.
Now, what are you doing to Jason's neck here?
So part 7 Jason is the Jason that rose out of Camp Crystal Lake after having been put there by Tommy Jarvis. He has a chain around his neck, and Tommy Jarvis put him in the bottom of Camp Crystal Lake. So I am putting shadows and chains.
When you go into making a drawing like this, do you have a point at which you start with, like you consistently start with, like obviously drawing the oval for the face, but after you've like got that shape down, where do you normally gravitate towards to start to fill things in?
I think usually it's the eyes, just because then I know if I like if the eyes look good with the shape of the head, or obviously here the mask, then I know I'm good. But the thing about inking this specific video and doing the eyes in this specific video is I did one before the other, and I waited till the end to do the other, specifically in hopes that it would make people wait around for me to ink that. I'm sorry, but I did. And other than that, though, yeah, if you do the eyes and you got the head, then you know you're on a good track, because the hair could be anything. It doesn't matter. You could throw anything on there.
And do you ever find yourself in a position, though, where you get so far into it and then you're looking, it's like, that doesn't feel right or doesn't look right? And how do you do to correct things like that?
I have actually taken 23 hours to draw a picture of the comedian from the Watchmen movie. I had the picture in my hand and I just sat there and drew it on my laptop, and it took 23 hours, and at the end of it I realized it was completely off, so I erased the whole thing and started over.
What were you using to draw it at the time? I know you said your laptop. Were you using a program? Were you using like a tablet?
I was using a tablet without a screen, so just one of those black tablets that attaches to the laptop where you look at the actual laptop screen and draw. Yeah, because I usually draw digitally, so this actual whole thing, the process drawing on the channel here is new to me actually.
Well, so far you've gotten some pretty good comments on because I've been uploading these channels, both Critical Android and Crypt of the Unknown, so that we can try to get some more exposure before we move it all onto Crypt of the Unknown. And yeah, I've gotten some pretty positive reception.
Oh, I didn't see that, but yeah, I did mention that in the last video, and I'll mention it here too. Webb has also been working hard on this channel as well with me, and he hosts on Critical Android. That's why he's called the Critical Android. So, check that out as well. Obviously, he's doing his own thing there, and we're doing this together, but it's good content, so you're not going to miss.
Yeah, no, and I want to specifically make it so that no matter what we did, you could enjoy the content before we move it over entirely to one channel. Because I've got almost 2,000 subscribers on my channel at Critical Android, and we want to try to get some more of that audience onto here. That's a lot of ink that you have to use to do the outline. Like that border.
That's it. So if anyone's curious, because we're almost at the end of the video here, if there's a shortage in any of these art videos, it's only because I can't afford to keep buying material like this all the time. The paper plus the inks, the pens, and everything else, professional pens and everything, it's like $50 every time you run out. So,
jeez.
When you do it, it's fun. When you run out, it sucks. But I'll try and, keep being constant as much as I can.
Well, no, you got to try to. And this is obviously a character that means a lot to you to be able to put into a form here. Mm-hmm. And I can definitely see where, you can easily see where the inking brings out so much. There's that famous joke in Chasing Amy about how an inker is just a tracer. But obviously you can see how that's not the case, where the inking really does bring out so much more in terms of the life of the drawing.
Yeah, in fact, I actually don't even think, like, some people can draw like a rough beforehand and their art is very informative, it comes alive. I actually don't think mine does until the ink actually hits the page. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure people have seen me draw, they could agree. It's just, the inking does that required depth that you're looking for.
Now, how are you doing this so fast?
It's called a time-lapse video.
Oh, you trickster.
I was going to say superpowers, but I was like, no, I don't want to misinform anyone. Don't call the FBI on me.
We've reached the end of the drawing here, so we get a still frame of Jason's eye staring at us. So I really like how it turned out.
Yeah, pretty fun. By the way, if anyone's curious, because I never actually put a timeline on this one particularly took me about 4 hours, so that's not bad.
No, for 4 hours work, and then being able to see it come to life like we have in this drawing. Thank you for having me on, Stefan, to do a little bit of talking over your work here.
Yeah, I couldn't have done it without you. I hope everyone else listens to the rest of the stuff we have and checks out the other arts projects that I've done on here, the art sessions, and give it a try.
All right, and then from both of us, thank you very much for listening. There's going to be more stuff coming up on this channel, especially for Halloween. The season, not the movie, but we could review the movies too.
We will at some point, I guarantee it.
I do love Halloween 3. I do, it's a good movie.
Season of the Witch?
Yeah, it's great.
How does the song go?
All our time has come here, but now they're gone. And that's the one?
No, that's not the one.
Oh, sorry. 20 more days till Halloween.
Okay.
5 more days till Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. 5 more days till Halloween, Silver Shamrock.
Silver Shamrock. I was tilting my head back and forth.
So was I.
It's such a jingle.
How did they think of it?
God damn it, those bastards.
They're ingenious. Where'd they come up with that melody?
Oh man.
Yeah, you'd think, okay, a multi-billion-dollar corporation selling evil Halloween masks, you'd think they could afford to buy something outside the public domain.
Seriously, they just get Huey Lewis in the news.
Yeah, they could have. They can afford them.
Silver Shamrock. Ow!
We've talked enough over a still image. Thank you all for listening and watching. For myself, Web the Critical Android, and Stefan JD, thank you so much. As for now, the crypt is closed.
Mm-hmm. That's the power of Shamrock.
I hate you so much. I hate you, goddammit.